Welcome to the Get Paid to Train AI Resource Guide audio presentation. I'm Mucha Marapa, and I would like to begin with a genuine, warm thank you for your investment. My dear old dad, bless him, used to say, son, money does not grow on trees, and the intention here is to give you way more than you paid for this. And I don't want to do it through these words that you're hearing now, but more via the actions that you will take on the back of this resource. Now, this is not going to be overly long, because I want you to think more of this as it's a cozy chat over coffee, or even better, an end of day cocktail with you and me just sitting there. And I'm sharing with you information and giving you this initial introduction to an industry that truly excites me because of all the possibilities, particularly given the fact that it can be done from anywhere in the world without needing to be ultra advanced in AI tech. Now, here's what you will be able to do the first time you go through this product. And when I talk about the product, I'm referring to the resource guide, the PDF, and this audio. And the very, very first time you go and you listen to it once, you listen to this audio presentation that I'm saying now, and then you go through the PDF, you'll be aware of a way to earn through AI that very few people are talking about. You'll know where to go in order to be considered for these AI jobs. Many of the platforms I'll introduce you to pay weekly, meaning the time between signing up, getting work, doing the work, and then getting paid is quicker than the more traditional method of work and then being paid considerably later. You'll also gain a clear understanding of how data labeling works, why it's in high demand, and how you can make this a consistent source of your income. And the beauty of this is that you can get started quickly without needing any advanced technical AI skills and from wherever in the world you are based. So it does cover a lot of people who are looking to do this. You may be looking for this side hustle money. You may be wanting to work from home. You may be very happy with the job you've got currently, but you just want to sort of put a little money aside for a rainy day, or you would like to be one of the digital nomads who can go and travel without having to worry about where that next penny is coming from. Now, one thing that you're going to see and hear and read with me, particularly when it comes to this resource guide and the definitive guide that's in the works too, is speed. Somewhat unapologetically, I'm putting a tremendous amount of focus on speed. I want you to listen to the audio, skim through the PDF, and sign up on as many platforms as you can, because money loves speed. And believe me when I say I've learned this the hard way. But here's what this can lead to over time if you continue to do it, if you stick at it. It must not be lost through the training that there is a mid and there is a long term to this, because, if you stick with it, data labeling can and will open doors to more advanced opportunities in the AI industry. You'll be able to specialize in higher paying tasks, work within niche platforms, and even transition into roles like project management or quality assurance. I love the saying, we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what can be done in 10 years. And I don't want you to be overly focused on, okay, this could be up to 10 years, or, you're saying a year from now I won't be where I want to be. I'm just saying, understand that short, that mid, that long term, because this could truly become a reliable career path that makes you permanently employable and location independent. So here are the steps, okay? This is what we are going to go through. This is what I'm saying to you. If we were to sort of make 5 points on what I want you to do here they are. Number one is learn the basics. Understand what data labeling is and why it matters. I'll introduce you to it briefly through this audio. I go a little deeper on it through the Quick Start video series. And there's also a podcast and blog being set up with even more dense, comprehensive information. But as always, we're going to begin with the basics, okay? Next is for you to choose your platform or platforms. The PDF has loads of places you can go to get work, right? So you're going to have to go and find the right starting point for you. What tends to happen, because I've seen it happen with me, is you go, I think last look I had 18, you'll go to 3 or 4 and you'll think, yes, that's perfect. Something will resonate. Maybe it's something that can complement your skill set more. Another one may be your preferred one because it's less techy, all right? So you choose your platform. The next one, and this is really important for 2 reasons, is access the jobs board. All right. With this resource guide comes the bonus of you having access to a jobs board for a year. All right. For a year, you can go and you can see people looking for help in the area of data labeling. Okay. So go there. And I want you to do it, as I said. Number 1 is because it's a bonus. But number 2, it just makes such a difference when you are seeing these possibilities, when you are seeing time after time people asking for something. A lot of it will stir your curiosity and you'll want to learn more. Get hands-on, all right? So I've said choose your platforms, I've said access the jobs board, but you really need to follow the practical guidance in the guide and on these platforms so you can get your first task, you can get paid. They are a little bit lengthy at times, because they want to know that you are who you say you are, that you live where you say you are living, that you have, in fact, a background or skills in a certain area, all right? So be prepared to ask questions. And the way I always look at it, it's no different from going to a job interview you really want. There'll be a bit of prep. You have to, send in your resume, your CV, sometimes even a cover letter. They may ask you questions. It's going to be no different. But my hope is that you are going to treat it as seriously as you would in a sort of job that you really wanted, because then you will be on their radar and they will reach out to you. Not the other way around. They'll reach out to you with projects. And then level up, right? You've got to build up your expertise, increase your earnings, and explore advanced platforms and opportunities. Once again, I want us to look at these real-world analogies. If you go and work in a place and they're paying you X amount and you think you're worth Y amount, well, there are certain things you're going to have to do, certain skill sets you're going to have to get, right? And it's no different when it comes to training AI. And here's why these steps are important and why I chose to put them in this order, okay? Because to be clear, this is the sequence I want you to follow. Firstly, you listen to this audio presentation you're listening to now. Next, you watch the Quick Start video series, okay? There are 5 videos. The longest one is 6 minutes. The shortest one is 2 minutes 22, so they're not long at all right? Next, sign up on the job board. So that way you will have access to see what jobs are available. And then go to the PDF, go through the different platforms and sign up. This sequence, in the way I've suggested it, this audio, Quick Start video series, job board, and then the platforms via the PDF will ensure that you start with a strong foundation and you can build momentum quickly. They'll also allow you to focus on accessible platforms and simple tasks, which are crucial as you gain confidence and experience right away. You want to go on some of these platforms where they ask you some questions, they give you some tasks, you do the task, and you create that momentum. As part of this purchase that you made, you do get to look over my shoulder because, I'm on my own path for further understanding in this industry, and I love to share what I'm learning. And as you progress, you'll be equipped to tackle more challenging opportunities that will boost your earning potential and position you as a valuable contributor in the AI economy. And look at that word positioning, because I made sure that the Marketing 101 audio that I am giving you as a bonus plays a huge role in your ability to get hired. I wish that you could just be the best data labeler or trainer of AI, and that means plenty of jobs will float, but it doesn't. You've still got to market yourself. You've still got to position yourself. And you'll be able to do that through Marketing 101. And then finally, there will be an option if you want to exchange ideas, experience, and just encourage one another along the way. And I will be in there to join a private Facebook group, and you'll see further details on the page. All right, so let's get going now with the audio presentation of Getting Paid to Train AI. One of my true business heroes, the late, great Peter Drucker, once said that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And what he meant by that was that instead of passively waiting for things to happen, individuals and organizations should actively shape their own destiny by taking initiative and driving change themselves. And I cannot think of a more appropriate way to open the benefits of learning how to train AI than that. We're not saying create AI. That train left a long, long time ago. We're having a lot of things thrown at us, some that we can understand easily, others not so much. But what I am saying is that, in line with what Mr. Drucker says, the best way to predict what your future is with AI is to create your own future. This is it, right? This is a great way to earn a steady income that can match your goals and ambitions regarding your lifestyle while contributing and participating in this cutting edge that is AI. So instead of falling prey to some of the credible or otherwise claims of, here's how to create an AI business or become an AI this or this piece of AI there, which we see all over the place, I'm saying at a foundational level, start by training the AI, because then you're going to learn more about it and more of the opportunities. And the benefits of this is that, you will be able to earn anywhere, anytime. I often look at the internet as this shopping mall that's open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, because of that, there's always an opportunity to work with somebody, with an organization, training AI. You'll gain skills that will keep you employable in a future that we can only describe as AI-powered. Your work will help build smarter, safer, and more inclusive AI systems. I can't stress this enough, and it's something I'm going to talk more and more about it. There is, as with most things, a bit of a double-edged sword here. While there are wonderful benefits, there's also an incredibly, incredibly dark side of AI. But by being the one that teaches it, and helps frame and create it, you are contributing to a safer world for all of us. The minimal AI tech skills is just a massive benefit. One of my flagship training programs is Digital Picks and Shovels, and that's me covering the 14 years I've had in the industry providing done-for-you digital marketing services for people. Now, those picks and shovels that I learned over the years absolutely put me in a position where I could work, and I've loved pretty much every minute of it. However, there was work to be done in order to learn how to edit videos or to write copy or to run ads. You had to actually put your time in to learn these specific skills. Well, when you train AI, it doesn't have to be that way. There are platforms, of course, that will teach and train and show you, right? But you bring a skill set and experience. Sometimes it's as simple as just the language that you speak natively or where you live in the world that can get you hired. So it's great from that standpoint, and that's why you can also get going very, very quickly. Now, the downside of it is if you are not following something like this and you don't go onto the resources that I recommend, chances are they will not be as ethical as some of these, what I can only call predatory platforms that exploit, won't pay you on time, won't pay you well enough, and they're out there. Thankfully, A number of organizations have signed certain codes and made pledges where they're not going to do that. And that's one that we're going to sort of make sure that it's these platforms you're introduced to and that you can go deep with. But the final sort of downside that I see here, really, if you don't follow this, if you don't take action, is just that risk of inaction. Because while opportunities grow, so does the competition. So the sooner you start, the sooner and better you can be positioned to do this. So what is data labeling? When I talk about data labeling relative to training AI, what am I talking about? Well, data labeling is a cornerstone of artificial intelligence because what it does at its core, it transforms raw data into structured information that machines can understand. Without accurate labels, and the algorithm will struggle to learn from the data they process. Now, let me break this down in layman's terms and just say that the quality of the outputs is contingent on the data the AI model was trained on. So if you go to something and you put some information in and you're not vibing with the information that's come back, or you're fact checking it and you're saying this is not good, it means at the heart the quality of the input was not correct. And this is what determines the success of AI models. It underscores the importance of data labeling. So at its core, data labeling is about making raw data like images, text, audio, and video understandable for AI models by adding meaningful annotation. So examples, you tag objects and images for self-driving cars. So there's a car going down a road and there's a stop sign, or there is a shopping center there, or there is a pavement, or it's a one-way street. You will actually point that out so that the car can pick that up. It's highlighting key phrases and text for chatbots, which I believe are just going to go from strength to strength and become, even more human sounding. But it's also identifying faces, places, moods, foods. And this is where we begin to move towards the specialized aspects of data labeling. Without labeled data, AI systems cannot learn and they cannot improve. And an example I wanted to give you is let's look at when children are young and there may be a fireplace, or there may be an iron, or there may be a cooker or something else like that. And they're told hot, and the kid will begin to process the fact that, no, this is hot. This is the downside if I touch something that is this hot, like it's a cooker or something. It's the only way they learn, or even sometimes picking up food, if you like. So we are training by often prompting, and then the child over time begins to work that out for themselves. And it's very much the same with these machines. Another analogy may be with a dog, where you say sit, and it begins to understand the sit, and you say stay, and you're encouraging it. But if you remember, I also talked about the ethical aspect of this. How often do we see these heartbreaking stories when a dog has mauled somebody, sometimes with the worst consequences? And quite often, the finger gets pointed to the dog's owner, where they say, well, look, this dog was clearly brought up in the wrong sort of environment, was fed the wrong sort of things, information, a hostile environment. Well, it's no different. It's no different with AI. And this is why the responsibility and the opportunity is to bring up a good child, a well brought up, loving pet who can then, be equally loving and rewarding to others, if you like. And I've sort of made this kind of analogy so you can understand the training and the nurturing aspect of it. Because data labeling can be supervised, where you're there and you're actually playing a very active role. It can be unsupervised, and this often happens when you've just got tremendous amounts of data that just needs to be put in a machine, loads and loads and loads of PDFs or white pages, transcripts from videos and so on and so forth. And then, of course, there is the semi-supervised, where there's a bit of both. So there is such a growing demand, and you can see it going in so many different areas. And the need for labeled data spans industry like healthcare, retail, law, education, the financial industry. I already talked about, vehicles, self-driving vehicles, and many, many more. And again, what's my definition of many, many more? Well, this is what you're going to learn on these platforms. You will go there and you'll begin to see, because it's great. You go to one, for example, like Outlier, and they've actually got these categories. One for languages. So if you speak natively in a certain way, there's work for you. If you're a specialist, so if you're a tax or an accountant or a chemist or a biologist, there's coding, and then there's the generalist work as well in the areas of content creating and proof writing and things like that. So on the topic of tools, it's 100% true that you don't need skills, but be open to learning them and understand that, again, similar to the wide world, when you go and apply for a job, if you're successful in getting that job, there'll be certain tools and programs that you need to do the job. Before I started in digital marketing done for you services, I had 2 part-time jobs. One was at the local taxi company, and the other was at a local hotel. And at the hotel, it was very, very basic stuff. At the taxi company, it was the same thing. I was picking up the phone. I was that person where they said, look, can I have a cab, please? And I said, where are you? And they say, yeah, where do you want to go? Yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes. But in both cases, I actually had to learn the software to use to check people in who had arrived at the hotel and reserve a room for them and so on and so forth. And at the taxi company, I had to put the booking in. So a driver would then access it via his phone and go and do that. So again, I'm trying to show you that when you get onto these platforms, sometimes it'll be very, very basic, where you can do it straight away. You're just identifying a language or an image or your skill set. But other times, very similar to when you get a job and you have to use a certain amount of software, you will have to learn that, but it will be in your best interests to do so. I remember many years ago, we often saw when you'd apply for a job and they said, well, you must know how to use Microsoft Word or be competent in Excel or PowerPoint and something. No different. But the great thing is many of these platforms will actually teach you how to do this themselves. And so again, this is how I therefore want you to start, okay? We're just rounding up this audio presentation. Once this is done, watch the quick start videos. As I said, there's only 5 of them. The longest one is 6 minutes. The shortest one is just over 2 minutes. You'll be able to whiz through them in next to no time. Then access the job board. You'll see a link on how to do that, because while you're beginning to look at all the other platforms, I just want you to look and just see where people are actually reaching out and advertising jobs that they need help with. It'll give you encouragement. It'll allow you to sort of see some light at the end of an at times confusing AI tunnel, but you'll also get clarity that, wow, this is an industry that I would do well to stick with. Then go through the guide. The guide is incredibly basic and it lists some links. My advice is go to OpenTrain and the Outlier ones first. The other ones I'm not particularly concerned which order you do, but go to those 2 first because they're wonderfully comprehensive, but they also show opportunities for people with just educational, vocational skill sets and so on and so forth. I mentioned languages, I mentioned things like tax and banking and languages and so on and so forth. So please make sure that you go there to those 2. But you're really going to win by going through as many of these platforms as you can and signing up for them, because you will begin to see some patterns. Something will be clear where you'll say, you know what, I'd like to position myself as this type of trainer of AI. Okay? Apply what you learn. Just start small, gain experience, okay? Build your portfolio by working on some simple tasks, because you need to understand at its most basic form what the work entails. A couple of words of not warning per se, but just giving you a heads up. The sign up can be quite a lengthy process, because as I had mentioned before, it's very similar to, if you are opening an online bank account or you're doing something, as opposed to opening an account on Amazon or Netflix or something like that, where it can be just quite basic. In this situation, what they need to know that you are who you say you are, that you can do what you say you can do, that you live, or you're based primarily where you say you're based primarily. So, take your time. I'd rather you do one of these every 3 or 4 days than try and cram them in all in one day, because believe me, you'll get pretty tired. A bonus is the directory. After you've done your first job, I want to give you a listing, because I want to market you. I just don't want to be this person who gives you this resource and says, look, go away and have at it, and so on and so forth, and have a good life and good luck to you. I want to show you where the work is via the job board, and then as you are doing the work and you're doing more and more of the work, I want to promote you to other people, okay? And then that way we can get you sort of working consistently, so you can plan for things, you can travel, you can work from home, you can supplement your income, and you can save for a rainy day as you will. But you'll find you need to have attention to detail. Accuracy is very important, because what you put into these models, what you teach them to do, is going to be so important. So be accurate, be consistent, be diligent. All right. The only way I can sort of conclude this is once again with Mr. Drucker's words, where he says, the best way to predict the future is to create it. As a trainer of AI, you can hands down create your own future. You'll be able to consult, coach, advise companies. You'll be able to collaborate on projects. You'll be able to provide a done-for-you service. I've done it for 14 years with digital marketing. There's absolutely even more of an opportunity to do it through AI. My encouragement here is get started, because when you do, you will further understand opportunities to progress from simple tasks to more advanced projects using specialized tools. And when that happens, you'll become permanently employable, location independent, while also doing incredibly meaningful work. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this audio program. Thank you once again for your investment. Watch the Look Over My Shoulder videos as well. And I may actually see you in the private Facebook group if you choose to join us there too. Till then, thanks and get training.